What's up, fellow collectors? Welcome back to the M.I.B. Master Toy Museum. I'll be your curator today. Guys, come on in. The coffee is on. There's plenty to go around. And I have what I would like to call one of those coffee time moments here at the museum. Guys, as you know, I have collected tons and tons of action figures and comic books and horror magazines, you name it. And one of those vehicles that I've used in the last 10 years has been eBay. The power of eBay. And today's coffee time episode is about the good and the bad of eBay. Now, some people might say, M.I.B, I can't stand eBay. You have a bunch of crooks on eBay. You have a bunch of swindlers on eBay. People that are trying to make a fast buck. People that are trying to be disingenuous with the items and products that they are selling. And some of that's true. I've heard some horror stories about eBay. Some real horror stories. But there are good vendors and sellers on eBay. This video is not in any fashion or form to bash eBay, but to shed light on some of the evils and some of the good that comes out of eBay. And we have a few items here today that I've purchased from eBay. Some out of haste. Some out of just smart business tactics and moves. And some that there were no other options but eBay. And we'll get in a little bit about that as well. There are store websites on eBay. We're looking at my 3 Batmans from Figures Toy Company that did a deal with Excelsior Toys. And they have an eBay store that you can purchase these guys from. Now, are these guys still there now? I'm not certain. I haven't checked back at Excelsior Toys in a while because I just really wanted these 3 particular exclusives. But these guys were sold at a fantastic price. I believe all of them were a little over $20. Not horrible, especially with the prices of Figures Toy Company action figures. And I was shocked that, these guys were exclusives, but they were exclusives to Excelsior Toys. So we got a good deal for these guys. Now that's the good. Remember that movie, that Clint Eastwood movie, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly? Well, I guess this would be the good aspect of eBay. And, from there, we can go to the opposite spectrum of eBay and look at the ugly. We're looking at a figure that did not come from eBay, but it caught my attention one day when I was on eBay I always go on eBay. I'm always looking for different action figures, stuff that I just don't have, stuff that's 20, 30 years old. eBay and Amazon, these are places that good tools that you can use to locate things that you're looking for or you just don't have. So I was on eBay and I came across this particular G.I. Joe, which is a smoke jumper from 2002, I believe. This is what I paid for him back in 2002 at a Super Kmart. I paid $19.99 for him. And what got my attention was a seller had listed this guy for, I hope you're sitting down when I say this. He had listed this guy, this G.I. Joe smoke jumper, for $2,500. And I believe it was $14 with shipping as well. And I almost fell out my chair. I was drinking some coffee at the time, like I'm doing right now, and I almost choked on my coffee. And I'm going to read you a little bit of the insert that he left. It's still up. If you want, if you don't believe me, guys, when I do my coffee time moments, the information I share with you guys, you can always feel free to cross-reference me and fact check me. You know, this is what it's all about. But I'm reading you this insert on the smoke jumper. $2,500, $14 shipping, and the description reads, G.I. Joe smoke jumper, action figure, very rare item, mint condition, no others out there like this. If you can prove me wrong, please feel free to contact me. Now, I haven't contacted this particular eBay seller, but as he can see, or as you guys can see, they are out here. There are more smoke jumper G.I. Joe figures out here. Is this figure hard to find? Yes. Is he impossible to find? No, he's not. Does he cost, or should he cost, $2,500 with $14 shipping? No. And guys, that's what we're talking about. You have to navigate the treacherous waters, if you will, of eBay, because they can be treacherous. Will that guy sell that particular smoke jumper G.I. Joe? I don't think so. But if you can find people that are desperate enough, okay, desperate enough, it's possible. Now we can go all the way back to the early release dates of M.I.B. And we'll come over here because these are the early, when Wave 1 first came out. I, like so many other M.I.B. fanatics, wanted M.I.B.s at all costs. I remember going to my Target and coming home empty-handed, and then taking out my phone and trying to access Target's website. These figures were sold out immediately on the website, and they were not in the stores. It's very rare that I make snap judgments, especially financial snap judgments, but I wanted these figures so bad. It's very rare. This is one of the first few times that I've done it. This is an eBay Dracula that I paid well over what the Dracula was going for. Was $14, $15. I paid about $44 for this. So this is a very expensive Dracula. Let's see, what's his number? 1,983, 1983 out of 10,000. This is a very expensive Dracula. This was a very expensive Lieutenant Sulu. I believe I paid somewhere around $35 for this Sulu. Let's get you a number on him. 118 out of 10,000. These were two of my first Wave 1 figures that I had to have, that I purchased from eBay. And that's where we get to with the other M.I.B. figures and things that are extremely rare, tough to find at the time. eBay sellers, as we call them, scalpers, really feed and live off collectors and toy enthusiasts that simply have to have figures. When the Screaming Werewolf, and we all know how tough it was to get the Screaming Werewolf, when he was announced that he was coming out, the M.I.B community went crazy. Everybody wanted this. I wanted it too. But I made up my mind. I made a conscious decision that I would not be sucked in to resorting to eBay. I was going to exercise patience in this regard by waiting a little bit to get what I wanted. I had learned from my earlier trials and tribulations with my Bela Lugosi Dracula and my Sulu Star Trek figure. So I learned and I waited, but I saw this Face of the Screaming Werewolf figure going for well over $100. Well over $100. And people were buying it. Scalpers were being accused of going to Target and emptying the M.I.B section of M.I.B figures, and that's why we couldn't find anything. Guys, it's coffee time with M.I.B. The coffee's percolating, guys. The topic of discussion is percolating. We're revving things up here in the museum. We want to hear your take on the eBay, good, bad, and the ugly. Your thoughts, leave them in the comment section right underneath this video, guys. Everybody's had some form of contact or some type of story about eBay. We want to hear them. And in the process, we might be able to help and educate the younger generation of collectors and toy enthusiasts that are thinking about using eBay as a means to build collections or find special items for their collections. We're looking at the elusive, the mysterious, mythical green shirt Captain Kirk. This figure single-handedly drove legions of M.I.B collectors out of their minds, and subsequently out into the streets and onto different websites like eBay and Amazon in hopes of landing one. This is our white whale, if you will, in the M.I.B community, the green shirt Captain Kirk. When he was released, he was going for well over $100 on eBay. And you need not only ask, you need to really only ask the next M.I.B collector standing next to you about those prices on eBay. We all had to deal with it. Same with Frankenstein. The second of the monster line from M.I.B, and Frankie being such a popular figure, people absolutely had to have him. But there's a silver lining to all of this. You can find things. eBay is the world's marketplace. I hear that's what they use as their slogan, if you will. Things that I had when I was a kid, like the Vampirella, horror comic magazines. I found a great place, a great eBay store, and we talked about the eBay stores a little earlier in our video. Anthony's Comics, they have a fantastic eBay store. Their prices are competitive. Their prices are extremely fair. Shipping is fantastic. These books, as you can see, are in fantastic condition, and I swear by Anthony's Comics. So this is not me damning eBay by any stretch of the imagination. We just want your thoughts and your opinions on eBay the good, the bad, the ugly, and that's what we're trying to convey to you guys today. But ever so often, with my G.I. Joe smoke jumper here, I'll catch something on eBay, and it just absolutely blows my mind that somebody could charge or ask for that much for an action figure that's pretty modern by today's standards. So he was produced in the early part of the 2000s. So, you know, this figure is not nearly almost $3,000, you know. So think about it. Another fun fact, like I said, finding my Star Wars Luke versus the Wampa, or the Wampa versus Luke. Found him for a fantastic price. Now listen, I found a lot of these Luke versus the Wampa figure sets. It's all about educating yourself, finding the best price. I never buy a figure if that figure does not have at least 4 or 5 photos, excellent photos of the condition of that item. That's another thing that I swear by. I'm not going to spend money, my hard-earned money, on items that I can't see and I can't do research on. So for all you young collectors and toy enthusiasts, if you're using eBay, check the description, check for photos. You want as many photos as you possibly can have on an item. You want to check everything from, and me being an M.I.B collector, it's paramount. Extremely important. I can't stress it enough. I've heard horror stories where people have received things from eBay, and it was not like the photo that they saw when they went into the motion of purchasing that figure. My Para-Ninja, my Rapid Deployment Force, these figures, you can find these figures for a little or nothing on eBay and Amazon. I've purchased these figures off eBay and Amazon at fantastic prices. And, you know, they're older, so I always look for the condition. This is what I'm talking about, the condition. You know, this is from the early 1990s, 1992, 1993. And you're looking at a figure that, for the most part, looked like it just came off of a toy shelf. Guys, what do you think about eBay? Do you use it? Are you planning on using it for some of the new Migos that are coming out? Or for items that you don't have? We want to hear all of that. We want to hear all of that, guys. We want to hear your horror stories about eBay. We want to hear some of your happy stories about eBay. Items that you've been looking for years and you finally found them on eBay. Let us know. Right in this video's comment section. You know the routine, guys. God bless. Keep drinking the coffee. It's free here at the museum. And by all means, keep collecting.